So beauty is surface, it's skin deep, and we all need to understand that it doesn't matter how much Botox, filler, ice facing we're going to age. So you need to find beauty from within and exude that. Beauty is bringing someone behind you and encouraging them. Beauty can show up in so many different ways. It's not just vanity. And being around these women who are drop dead gorgeous, and then you see that we all have our insecurities, but then just persevering, pushing and encouraging each other through that, that's beauty.
It takes something a little more to lead with impact. I'm Lisa Nichols, author of Something Extra, and this podcast was inspired by our daughter Allie, whose additional chromosome has shaped how I see people in leadership. Each episode features conversations with inspiring leaders from around the world about what truly defines how they lead and serve others. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please consider leaving a 5-star review. It helps more people discover the show. And if you'd like to go deeper, my book, Something Extra, is available on Amazon and through other major book retailers. From the world of national gymnastics and the Miss Missouri stage to the front lines of community revitalization, Erika Johnson is a St. Louis powerhouse dedicated to building a healthier, more equitable future. She is the founder of Juice EJ, a wellness brand born from her family's personal health journey. Please join me in welcoming an entrepreneur and advocate who proves that true beauty is found in the legacy we leave for others, Erika Johnson. Well, Erika Johnson, welcome to the Something Extra podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
I am so excited to make this happen with you. And you and I met recently
Yes.
at the Sophia Awards. And Erika, I mean, what an amazing organization. I left there so inspired at what Don Price has built.
Absolutely incredible. And just such a room of dynamic, powerful women. It was just an honor to be a part of it. Absolutely.
I agree. I agree. And for those listeners who don't know, the Sophia Project, they are mentoring, I think Dawn said about 1,500 inner city girls right now. They pair them with mentors. And so many of the girls were participating that day. And I was so impressed
Yeah. It
by
was
their speaking skills and their presence, right?
absolutely.
And I was just thinking to myself, we need more mentors.
Yes, we do, especially here in our great city of St. Louis. So, you and I, it's an honor to be able to be a part of it and see how we can further get involved. So,
No doubt. And it's just so funny because you and I were sitting at the same table, Erika. We never met before, but there was an instantaneous connection. And I think a lot of it's our faith, and I want to talk about that because I know faith is important to you, and it's everything for me. So we'll talk about that. But let's dive on in. My goodness, I was as I was preparing for today's interview, I'm thinking, you've gone from gymnastics to journalism to pageantry to entrepreneurship. You have done a lot. You're like a Renaissance woman.
I am a serial entrepreneur. Yes, I am.
You are. Well, let me ask you this, and then I'm going to ask you about each one of those things. What is the thread that connects all of those things for you?
Right timing, God's divine timing. I would say every single venture that I have had has been just anointed, and maybe I met someone or there was the right circumstance, and it just presented itself and took off. So,
Mm, that's amazing. Well, you were a young gymnast. I know that you trained for like 10 years,
oh yeah.
at a very high performing level. Tell me about how that shaped you as a young girl. And then I would love to hear from you, Erika. What are some of those character traits that you learned through gymnastics and working that hard that you still carry with you today in what you're doing?
Absolutely. So, I feel like any individualized sport is going to really just shape you and mold you because you're accountable to yourself. There is no one else to blame if you fall short. It's literally on your own shoulders. So, I trained for 10 years under Scott and Debbie Cusimano out at Jim Quarters Gymnastics Center where I competed nationally. And I would definitely say the friendships, the relationships, the discipline, Just my level of ambition to persevere through pain and injury has definitely shaped me to be the woman that I am today. So I'm very, very grateful to them for their love. I mean, I trained so much, they became my extended family. You know, at
Mhm.
5 years old, between I'm sorry, yeah, 5 and 15. That was just such a big instrumental part of my life. And eating with them, I had to do my homework at the gym. It was 4 hours a day of training, and you're traveling with the team, so it literally becomes your extended family.
Mhm. I'm glad that you mentioned that because I was gonna ask you, how many hours a day did you train? So you went to school, right? And then you went to the gym and you trained for 4 hours. I mean, how many days a week, Erica?
Monday through Friday, 4 hours, and then Saturday I trained from 9 to 1, and then I did private lessons after that.
My goodness. What were your dreams? Were you hoping to go to the Olympics?
I did. I really wanted to. My family really wanted that for me. God had other plans, and I don't, ever disagree with that plan. I had some injuries that really just became debilitating. I still deal with the back injuries to this day, but again, just the relationships I fostered, I'll have forever in the memory. So
That's so beautiful. Well, tell me about those injuries. What did that I mean, because let me ask you this, because a lot of high performing individuals a lot of times tie their identity to what they do and their performance, right? It's kind of a performance. I've had to unravel some of that myself, as I've gotten older. But was your identity tied to that at all? And if it was, what did that moment feel like, Erica, when you had the injury and you had to step away?
you are tied to it because it is such a big part of you. I remember being so young, and like my Halloween candy was almost monitored and micromanaged, and when you cannot do something that you see as your whole entire future, it plays on your mental. I feel like we see this a lot with athletes, especially like the NFL players, because in reality, a lot of them come from just poverty driven circumstances, and so that's their way out. And an injury is everything that could ruin their future, their
Mhm,
family's financial future. So it is very hard to begin to identify as something else when that's all you really know for an extended period of your life.
mhm, yeah, I agree. I've seen the same thing, and like I said, I've had to do my own internal work, um, as I've gotten a little bit wiser, that it's not I said, "Your identity is not what you do, it's really who it's not that's not who you are, is what you do." Right? And I think that is an important journey to go through. Um, what helped you let's talk about this because I know, like, in, 2022, your dad went through a difficult health journey,
Yeah.
right? And again, God used that, right, to kind of alter and even what you're doing today.
Mhm.
Can you take us into that season and just what caregiving in that season, you said you kind of felt like you lost yourself a little bit.
Yeah, I did. I think anyone who has cared for a loved one to that extent can relate because your needs become the back burner. So, working out, just the simple things, keeping your house cleaned and eating right. You're in survival mode at that point. And myself, my family, we were just trying to survive. My dad was diagnosed in 2022 with amyloidosis, and there is not a lot of medical data on the type that he had. He had severe amyloidosis that attacked his heart, liver, and lungs, which is very rare. Typically, it identifies in one vital organ, so you can only do two transplants at
Mhm,
once. So he ended up getting a heart and a liver, and then they treated the lungs, but it was just such a long recovery process. He had to learn how to walk, talk, swallow. I mean, his fine motor skills were completely gone. He couldn't even brush his teeth. So it turned our family just completely into his caregivers. And so
mhm,
again, just I did lose myself for a bit, but I found myself as well. So it's the blessing that he's here. My faith never faltered. My family's faith never faltered. Even when people were saying we've never seen this, we don't really know. He's a case study. Just be prepared. I didn't allow my mind to go there.
mhm.
I believe in God. I also believe in the universe. And so every day, I fasted. I will talk about it now. I privately fasted for the public reward, but I also did my 369 method in my journal. So every single day, I would write, my dad's going to have a successful heart and liver transplant. And I didn't allow any negative thought, any negative person into my ether during that time. And today he is back golfing and happy and healthy. So, yeah.
Wow. Thank God. Thank God. Well, and I'm just thinking, Erica, as you were saying, that it attacked his heart, his liver, and his lungs, right? And people are like, we've never seen this before.
Yeah.
But that didn't stop God.
It
That didn't
did.
stop God. This is like God's like, I got this, right? So um, but so you said you did find yourself. And I know that one of the things that you did um was, entered the Miss Missouri pageant.
I did. I did.
Yeah,
That was
tell us about that. That was 2024.
Yes, I was 2024. I actually won the Miss Missouri USA People's Choice Awardee, and it was just it almost reminded me a lot of my time as a gymnast because of the dedication and the training. I have
Mhm.
so much respect for the women that enter into these pageants because you're just on the forefront. Every flaw, every insecurity, you have to really know who you are, trust yourself, love yourself through it all, no matter whatever the judges or the audience, the people say. But it was just such a beautiful experience for me. And again, so many friendships, so many doors have opened. I'm eternally grateful for that.
Was it hard to say yes to that? Because I think you had a friend, didn't you, Erica, if I remember?
Yeah.
You had a friend that said you should do this. I mean, was it hard to say yes to that?
She kind of just threw me in it, and she was like, "Hey, we were at her birthday dinner. She was the former Miss Missouri in 2022, and she's like, "You're doing this." And I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Do you think I can?" And she's like, "Absolutely." So, just having that push, I love a good girl's girl. So,
Yes.
yeah, I
Yeah.
answered the calling.
So
So,
you had a little bit of a push there, but, it turned out well. And just getting the People's Choice Award, Erica, come on. That was
thank
the people
thank you.
voting, it's so amazing. So let me because this is, I see it in young girls, beauty, outward beauty. So many girls are plagued with comparison,
Oh,
right? And that how is your definition, how has your philosophy around beauty evolved? I mean, it probably evolved even during that time, but
it
talk to
has.
young girls about this.
Mhm. So beauty is surface, it's skin deep, and we all need to understand that it doesn't matter how much Botox, filler, ice facing we're going to age. So you need to find beauty from within and exude that. Beauty is bringing someone behind you and encouraging them. Beauty can show up in so many different ways. It's not just vanity. And being around these women who are drop dead gorgeous, and then you see that we all have our insecurities, but then just persevering, pushing and encouraging each other through that, that's beauty. So,
Mhm. That's good. That is good. Um, how about how they see themselves with worth? Because a lot of times, I mean, let's just tie it all together here. Like what we do sometimes gives us our sense of worth. How
mhm.
we look gives us our sense of worth. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, for me, I've really worked hard to master detachment from validation primarily because when you need validation, you're not whole. You
Mm,
almost have to become indifferent to that. I am not going to be everyone's cup of tea. My look's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, and I am so okay with that. So I think more women really need to become comfortable in their own skin. There was a time early in my journey, I didn't even want to leave the house without makeup. And as I aged, it's funny, you take better care of yourself as you get older, right? And I'm like, wow, my skin is actually really nice. Like I have great hair. Like, why am I not embracing myself as me? Why do I
mhm.
feel like I need these outer, things to make me beautiful? So yeah.
That's good. That's good. Well, let's go back to what you're doing today. You guys, because of your dad, really, you started on this, what is it called? Cold press?
Yeah, it's cold pressed.
Juicing. Yeah, tell us about that. It was really how has that mission, really kinda shaped you and what you're doing? Tell our listeners about that.
Absolutely. So I've been juicing now for going on 11 years, and I was doing it for myself for health benefits, obviously being a gymnast, having to always be on top of my diet. And then I would do it for family. They'd be over and they're like, "Oh my God, this juice is so good." And I'm like, "Are you guys just blowing smoke?" But, when I was doing the pageant, I ended up doing a charity boot camp, and we rolled out the juice just to see because the feedback had been so good. And I had been giving it to my dad while he was in the hospital waiting on his transplants. And his doctor was like, "Whatever you're doing, keep doing it." He's like, "We have been trying to get his numbers to trend, trying to find a way to get healthy whole foods into his body that would sustain him." And his numbers were looking good, his energy was looking good, his color was coming back. And so I was like, if I can do this for my dad who's got such a major catastrophic diagnosis, maybe I should roll this out to the world. And then we sold out at the boot camp within 45 minutes. Was not expecting that.
Wow.
Yes, I was the host of the boot camp, so my sister just took the initiative to take pre-orders. Mind you, this was smack in the middle of the pageant, and so I was working with a speech coach, I was working with my walking coach, I'm in the gym twice a day, I'm doing all these different things. I did not have time to start a juice company, but we did it because we had the pre-orders, so
Right.
yeah,
Oh
here
my
we
goodness. That is so awesome. I love that. I love that. Well, okay, so this is funny. So our nutritionist, had said to me, "You need to start juicing." So I have a juicer. Tell us about this, Erica, because I'm like, "Wow, it takes so many carrots. It takes so much to just get one little glass of juice."
was.
Give us your secret sauce, I guess, if you will, on how you practically do the juicing.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd love for you to talk about that, and then maybe your favorite juicing recipe.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would definitely say anyone who's juicing, whether it's home or it's a business, you have to love it because it takes time, the
It
prep,
does.
cleanup. I don't like to use the word pride too much, but we really try to exude excellence in how we deliver our products. So we do not use any additives, any preservatives. We don't use any harsh chemicals to clean even our kitchen space. So we're soaking everything in like baking soda or apple cider vinegar. We typically take the skin off of the cucumbers because it's very hard for the body to digest. Same with the lemons. So it's very tedious. So that's why I say you have to really, really love it. A lot of people do it to make money, and let's be real, we all want to make income in what we do.
Mhm.
We're doing this a lot for the health benefits primarily. So yeah, my favorite recipe too, I would say, is the beet happy. I like it the most because we have managed to find a way to make beets not taste like earth. It's some beets, it's some pineapples, it's a few other good
Ooh.
conscious things, but that really helps to kinda cut out that beet flavor and still give you those massive cardiovascular benefits, so
So it's called Beet Happy?
beet
Be
happy.
happy. Well,
Yeah,
I grew up in the South. I grew up in Kentucky, and so my mom was an excellent Southern cook, and, she pickled beets,
yes.
and I grew up loving pickled beets. Now, it's probably got sugar in there, Erica, that's not good for you, but, I'll eat a beet salad any day of the week. I love
Mm,
beets, right? So,
yeah.
uh, I love that. So where can you find the juice? Do you order online or where
Yeah.
is it?
So we have a store on Main Street in the heart of historic St. Charles, Missouri. So our address is 215 North Main Street, St. Charles, Missouri 63301. And then we're also online on our Instagram. So we have a lot of people that will message us. Again, like I mentioned, we have not mastered and we're not really looking to put any type of preservative in our juice. So we don't really ship. We
Mm,
can, but it's just so expensive because
right.
after 5 days, any juice, anywhere that you go and you see that's still on the shelf, the enzymes are already breaking down. And I'm not knocking any of these other juice companies, but
Right.
the point in cold pressed juice is to really get the nutritional value of it. So our Instagram is JuicyJ by Erika J. So you can always DM us, swing by the store, and yeah.
I'm gonna come check it out. I'm thinking I better come get my juice from you 'cause I'm just not sure I have the patience. I mean, it is fun, but it's detailed, and it does take a lot of time.
Yeah.
Um, Gosh, Erika, I've got so many more questions for you, but we do need to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back with Erika Johnson on the Something Extra podcast.
In business, the tendency is to seek out partners who are bigger, faster, stronger. When it comes to IT, you should be looking for smarter, faster, better. That's just what you'll find with the talented technologists at Technology Partners. Our experts develop custom solutions to tackle your most complex challenges, all to simplify your processes in the smartest, most efficient way possible. The time to be swift and nimble starts now. Go to technologypartners.net/solutions and see what's possible.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Something Extra podcast with my friend Erika Johnson. So, Erika, I have absolutely loved our conversation so far. And I know that from studying you and reading about you, preparing for this interview today, that you're very passionate about food deserts.
Oh, yeah, very much so.
Tell me more about that. We have a lot of food deserts, right?
Yeah, St. Louis has a huge deficit of food deserts. So before I, obviously had my juice company, I was doing real estate, and I was specifically rehabilitating St. Louis City because there are so many just derelict, rundown buildings, and that creates dangers for our children when you're living next to an abandoned building and whatnot. So not only that, really just trying to stimulate tax dollars and whatnot. But while I was down there, I would notice there was nowhere for me to really go and get healthy foods as a lunch option, and that frustrated me because here I am like, well, we pay our tax dollars as well. Why is there not an organic section in the Schnucks or in the local grocery store? So, yeah, it's definitely an issue that needs to be further addressed. So,
Well, what do we need to do? I mean, what can we do, Erika?
advocate and write to the right people. Like myself, I was out rehabbing these neighborhoods, creating the tax dollars, fighting for the tax abatements. At the time, our current mayor of St. Louis, Kara Spencer, was the alderwoman in the ward where I was rehabbing my homes, and she just really went to bat for me and helping me get maxed benefits on the tax abatements because these homes were imploding, crumbling at the foundation, and sometimes the city would only want to give me 50%. And I'm like, hey, we're rebuilding this community. We need help. We need support. So, like I mentioned earlier, just reaching back and helping someone. So I am just forever grateful to Kara for extending her hand and her resources to help, execute my vision. So
Are you still doing that to this day, Erika?
not. I
No.
love rehabbing. However, it is very tedious.
Mhm.
And right now with the juice, I find a lot of joy and it still is helping. So, yeah,
Absolutely. Well, tell me this, what do you think, like, when you're thinking about an underserved community, what might people not really understand? We've done a lot. Are you familiar with Lucas Rugley?
I'm
Shout
not.
out to Lucas Rugley with Love the Lou.
Oh, I would love
They're
to
doing
know.
amazing things. Goodness gracious. Oh, I mean, there's the Tabernacle Community Development Center. How about that? Andre Alexander. Do you know him, Erica?
It is, yes, yes.
Oh, amazing. But they're doing a lot of that. But what do you think people might not really understand about these underserved communities?
I don't think they understand the need. I, for a while, have done charity events with the Urban League where they have blessed me to be able to use their facilities to house my charity events. And the very first year that I did it, I gave away laptops and propane fire tanks that you would see like out on the patios and whatnot. And it didn't register to me that that's not what they need. So we need to really identify the need and then execute. So the years following that, I really prioritized understanding what they said. I took notes. They needed socks. They needed, you know, um,
Basic.
yeah, basic living essentials. And so
Mhm.
we can't help if we're not doing our due diligence and asking and then again executing on it. So
Yeah, that's so good. I love what you just said because I think a lot of times
we assume,
we
yeah,
assume and presume what is
mhm,
needed, right? But you've got to talk to people. You've got to actually, uh,
mm,
build relationships and understand what the needs are because
yeah.
we're not gonna, hit the mark,
Yeah.
right?
And a lot of times, if we're being honest, if it doesn't affect us directly, sometimes we become oblivious. And I think as a people, that's how we better ourselves. That's how we better the communities that we live in by sometimes going out of our comfort zone to address these issues. I have so much love and respect for the Chris Long Foundation. Him and his wife Meg. Chris was our former Rams NFL player. He has an organization that I would love for so many people to get involved with. It's called the Little. I'm sorry, not the Little Bit. They're the Ed Zone, but they partner with the Little Bit, and so they have now put lockers into underserved schools, and these lockers are incredible. So they're filled with toiletries, coats, all sorts of things. And these children don't have to ask. They can just go into the locker, get what they need. They don't have to feel embarrassed or ashamed. They literally can just go and go about their day. And, Chris has made it his business to make sure that children are comfortable. Think about children that may not have deodorant or toothpaste. They're not going to be confident in school, which means they're not going to be, paying attention. Or if they're hungry, you're not paying attention because your mind is elsewhere. But he has really made it his business to create a safe space for these children. So there's some great
Oh,
organizations. We
I
just
love that. Well, and then something that you just said, Erica, just made me think. You said Chris partnered with
yeah,
we've done a lot, technology partners, like our team has gone and volunteered for a little bit, and we always love the Little Bit Foundation.
they're amazing.
But sometimes you don't have to do, collaboration is really important in this space, I believe, right?
Mhm. It is. Yeah. We're only as powerful as our partners and those who we do partner up with, and again, it's just asking and seeing what the need is, because that's how we get things done. So
Mhm. Well, I love everything that you've done. I mean, you've got such a just a very I can just tell such a giving heart, and that I'm sure, Erica, a lot of that spans from your comes out of your faith and what
absolutely.
you believe, is how we're to treat one another, right? Our neighbor.
Yeah. And God doesn't bless us to not bless others,
Yeah.
that's how he wants it to be. So yeah.
Well, tell me a little bit about your faith. Did you grow up in a faith-filled family?
I did, yes. Faith is definitely at the heart. Grandparents were deacons. My dad is a deacon. It's just in us. We grew up in a Baptist church and then transitioned briefly to non-denominational and then back to Baptist. However, I believe God comes, however you want to identify, God is God. And
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, it's not about a denomination, right? It's about a relationship.
that's
So,
it.
that's
That's,
so good. Well, I mean, you do have a journalism degree, and I know that you've had the opportunity to interview some really iconic people, right? Ozzie Smith, Orlando Pace, Nelly. How have you used your voice intentionally in those spaces,
so
Erica?
I would love to just set it straight. I actually do not have my journalism degree. I was thrown into journalism.
Oh, I can see a pattern here. You've been thrown into a lot of things.
I know, yeah, someone said they were like, "You're very articulate. I love your look. I want you to, try this." And I did an interview and it went very well and they hired me.
Oh
Um,
my
but
goodness.
yeah, getting to work with Ozzie Smith, oh my goodness, such a humble, humble giant. And with his wife Yolanda, I just love when I have the opportunity to engage with them. Nelly also doing incredible things here with, St. Jude's and all of that. Orlando Pace, another person who's just very philanthropic, doing great things. So it's a pleasure.
Oh, that is awesome. Well, tell me about this. Today we have all these influencers. We consider you an influencer, Erica. But what is the responsibility that comes with that? I mean, when you've been given a platform like you have,
Yeah,
there is definitely influence that's happening, an impact that's happening.
yeah.
But what is the responsibility that you also carry?
The term fiduciary, it's like we owe that to our people, and we've been blessed with that platform, and to misuse it is just wrong. So to me, being affluential comes with balance. And I spoke earlier about the art of detachment, being able to confidently detach from situations and circumstances that are not serving your highest calling, that are not going to be beneficial to you. Understanding that you do not have to say yes to every commitment, because how can you be a leader if you're not self-preserved?
Mhm.
So really just being intentional with your yeses and okay with sometimes having to say no. But Yeah.
You're speaking my language
Yeah.
because every yes comes at the opportunity of something else,
It does.
right? And I just think I've said this so many times. I think like for a leader, one of the most important qualities, Erica, is discernment
It is.
because
Mhm.
there's a lot of good,
Mhm.
right? But you want the best. You want the things that only you can do and the things that are like you said that are in alignment with
Yeah.
how you've been called,
Yeah.
right?
That's my prayer. You know, a lot of people, and I'm not saying I don't pray for other things, but typically the fundamental base of my prayer is wisdom and discernment, because the
Mhm.
wisdom and discernment, you can do so much and you can avoid so many pitfalls. So
Yes, I could not agree more. Um, yeah, this is good. Let me ask you a question. If someone is listening today and they feel like they've lost themselves, or maybe they feel stuck, or maybe they feel, let's call it a wilderness, what would you want them to hear? How do they get themselves out of that?
I had someone actually call me for mentorship about this very thing. I encouraged them to fast. There's so much power in
Mm.
fasting. When my dad was diagnosed, we treated him over the course of 2 years with one set of doctors until my mother advocated and said, you know, hey, we need a different set of eyes. And we got to this other set, and they said, your dad, if he has what we believe he has 3 months, maybe. He's at risk for sudden death, and so I understood the dire need for to hear God's voice, and so I immediately went into a fast. I gave up music, I gave up food, I gave up everything pretty much that was of the flesh, and I said, "God, this is my ask in that." And for him to deliver on something that was, again, just unheard of, and I do have to share this. The day that my dad got his organs, his heart went into AFib, and they actually had to resuscitate him. And the doctor came in. He said, we've reached the point of no return. He said, so if we don't get organs, you guys need to get prepared. You may have, you know, a day, a few hours. And I remember sitting at my dad's bedside, and I said, okay, God, I've done everything. I surrender. We got organs that night.
Wow. Wow, Erica.
So
That's a
that,
beautiful thank you for sharing that. You've done everything. You've fasted, you've prayed, scripture tells us that, right? To fast and pray. Um, yeah, and just like, God, I've done it everything that I know that you've called me to do, and the rest is up to you.
yeah. He may not deliver when we want,
Yeah, the timing.
but he delivers, yeah. He
He
gave
does.
us the nick of the hour, so yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, that is where our faith is strengthened, right?
yeah,
I mean, if we could see everything that's gonna happen, that's not faith.
no,
It's sight,
that's it.
walking by sight instead of walking by faith. So I just love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. Well, I'm gonna do like a really fun little lightning round here for you, just a couple of um, quick questions, and then I want to talk about something extra.
Okay.
Um, one word that describes your current season.
Oof, light,
Light.
light, yes. Mhm,
Oh, I love that. You
mhm.
wanna elaborate on that at all?
I feel light because, again, I've released, I've detached, I am so comfortable with myself and who I am. I feel light.
Oh, that's beautiful. Love it. Favorite way to recharge?
Meditation,
Meditation.
yeah.
Okay, good. A person who inspires you deeply?
My mother.
Your mom. Oh, tell me about your mom.
Ooh, she is a rock star. Yeah, my mom, you know, really getting to see how she showed up as a mother, as a woman of God through the tough seasons has just been so aspirational to me in life. Amazing mother. She's a nurse. She still finds time to give back. She's involved in church. She gets it done. So yeah,
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, I mean, you've got a model, a living model right in front of you, Erica, right? And how to live as a woman of God. That's beautiful. What's your morning routine? Do you have a daily habit or daily routine that you go through? We want to hear it.
I definitely do. For me, I get up before my feet hit the ground. I'm definitely giving gratitude to God just for even waking up. Such a blessing. I spend some time with myself, quiet reflection. I spend some time with my dog, walk him. I ice my face almost every morning.
You ice your face. What does that mean? I've never had anybody say they ice their face.
I
Give us your trade secret.
Yeah, so the icing of the face closes the pores, it, like, shrinks your pores, and it's also known to help with, like, any acne or any, hyperpigmentation, so it just keeps our skin youthful.
Okay, so do you put ice on your face or do you like a really cold cloth or what is
I
that?
go into a submerged ice bath.
An ice bath. Oh my goodness. I've got a friend that has a cold plunge in her bathroom. And, she's like, I do the cold plunge. And I'm like, oh, I don't know so much about that, but I know the health benefits are
Oh, yeah.
really good. All
It re
right. So give your face an ice bath. I'm going to remember that one. I know that you are high growth mindset. How
Yes.
do you personally learn? How do you personally grow, Erica?
I listen more than I talk, especially in specific rooms, because we're not gonna learn if we're just yapping. You gotta sometimes be quiet, be that fly on the wall and observe. So that and I don't I believe in downtime. I don't believe in idle time. So I will take the time to rest and recharge, but I'm not going to fill my valuable time with aimless chatter. I typically like to podcast or read or get in nature. So yeah.
Okay, that's good. I love that. That is a beautiful phrase. You believe in downtime, not idle time. And there is a difference. So the downtime would be your reading of a book or taking a walk in nature, right?
Yes.
But it's not just sitting scrolling through social media
No.
or scrolling through the television.
Yes, I
Yeah,
think we all do. We're in the times where social media is so relevant, but I do believe we have to compartmentalize that into a fraction of the day. It cannot consume the day, and that requires discipline to say, "Okay, my 5 or my 15 minutes, whatever that looks like for you, that's it." And you
that's it.
disconnect. That's detachment, so
That's so good. So good. What are you most excited about right now? The
I'm
juice
sorry.
company?
Yes, I am. I mean, like I mentioned, we have the store on Main Street. We moved from Fox Park, and Main Street is just it's so much organic, natural foot traffic. There's so many festivals. It's just a very exciting time to see what this next chapter will look like for us. So,
Oh, well, I'm excited for you, and I'm excited to come and visit.
me too.
Well, Erica, this is called Something Extra. I ask every guest this question, and I'd love to hear your answer. What do you believe is the something extra that every leader needs?
They need balance. They need balance in God, balance in family, work life, um, balance on what they say yes to, but balance.
Oh, that's good. I've never had anybody say that before. Out of 380 guests. So there you go. I love it. Yeah. But, I always say, I talk about soul care and self-care and you can't pour from an empty cup, right? And if you are out of balance, if the wheels on the bus, one of them is flat, it's not going to be a fun ride,
That's it.
right?
Yeah.
So that is so good. Well, thank you so much, Erica. This has been so much fun. I've enjoyed this time spending with you. And I just know that your wisdom and your story, it's going to help our listeners. And that's the goal.
Thank you so much. It's been truly a pleasure spending time with you. I enjoyed the conversation.
You too. Have a great rest of the day.
You too.
Something Extra with Lisa Nichols is a Technology Partners production. Copyright Technology Partners, Inc., 2019. To learn more about this week's guest, check out the show notes at tpi.co/podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, consider leaving us a review. Thank you for listening to Something Extra.